Comer Bambinos and Iame Bambinos up first. Straight out onto the circuit then come some of our youngest drivers out there racing today, and our only split grid final of the day as well here, with both the Comers and the Iames on the track at the same time. Have a little look through the grid then before they get underway then. In the Iames, it's Shay Downey on pole position. He's won 3 from 3 in the heats today here. Maximum possible points from today so far. He's going to be feeling very positive moving into this final. Stanley Thurston joins him on the front row with Teddy Smith and Jack Rossi Minute on row 2. Of course, Jack Rossi was very dominant back at fullback, hence he's rocking that UK plate. Jed Evans and George Miller on the road behind him, with Henry Exton, Isaac Taylor, Oakley Rudman and Presley Knight rounding out the order of 10 drivers there in Iame M1s. Matthew Pearson takes pole position in Bambino Comers. Of course, he was your final victor back at fullback. Looks as though he's carried on that momentum here into Shenington. Again, a very positive day for him so far. However, in the Comers, we've had 3 different heat winners so far from today. Matthew Pearson on the front row, along with Jace Hannon. Then Noah Gallagher there on row number 2. He's joined by Logan Grassi. And then it's Dalton Dyke Whitfield, Reggie Rhodes and Jax Wilmington, who round up the grid then in Bambinos. We watch and wait for the flag to drop. It drops now, and the finals are underway here at Shenington. The drivers fly on down through to the first couple of corners. They slingshot down through the left-hander of Park Bend. Then it's through Cafe. We see them now head through there, through the right-hander. Seemingly all the drivers getting off the start line very, very well, which is good to see. You can already see, though, those little bits of standing water there through Cafe. Drivers got to watch out for that, even on these wet tyres. Still, standing water can quite easily catch you out. So just got to make sure you're being extra careful. Move up the inside there, potentially for second place there in the Bambino Comers as they continue to battle out of the corner as well. There's a nice move up the inside there as we head down into the chicane. The 34 of George Miller making up a place. That's getting back through then on Henry Exton as those two continue to squabble over 6th place. Attempted to move up the inside there ahead as they battle over 4th place, threading the needle there, attempting there. That was Rossi Minner and Jed Evans, I believe, they're squabbling over P4. And there's a thought there about a move for 3rd place from the 19 of Teddy Smith. He can't quite get alongside this time, though, as they head out of Wilkins Complex. And that's already the end of lap number 1. Not the longest kart circuit here at Shenington. A very unique track, though. All about carrying that momentum through the corners, particularly in these lower-powered karts such as these. Big check over the shoulder then from Stanley Thurston. He's lost the place then on the first lap of the race. Sorry, I say lost the place. Of course, it was Shay Downey who started in pole position on this one. So Shay's held on to it. And Stanley very much thinking about Teddy Smith in behind as we're side by side for 4th place then. That's Jed Evans and Jack Rossi Minner battling, and Rossi Minner is through then. As we say, he's rocking that UK plate courtesy of his round victory at round number 1. And, well, he's doing a pretty solid job here in the final so far. 10 minutes plus 1 lap on the clock for this one and all the rest of the finals throughout this afternoon. And already, seemingly, Rossi Minner finding a bit of pace as he looks to chase down our top 3. There was another thought there down into the Wilkins Complex from Teddy Smith. But whether he's got the move done or not, I'm not so sure. Let's wait and see as he comes across the line there. Leaders still absolutely line astern. Has it changed? Yes, it has. Teddy Smith through then into 2nd place, and he points forward now. Wants to work together with Stanley Thurston as he looks to hunt down Shay Downey. As I mentioned, bit wide there through Cafe. Kicking up the spray was Teddy Smith. That's lost him a bit of momentum, and actually might now, the pendulum might swing back the way of Stanley Thurston. Right on the wheel tracks of Teddy Smith as they head into the braking zone, but not able to make a move to the inside. Well, initially, it looked as though Teddy had the momentum there to look to launch an attack on Shay Downey, but it's not going to happen. He's fallen back into the clutches of Stanley Thurston, and they stay as they were. But wow, look at that momentum carry through the corner there of chicane for Teddy Smith. Perfectly done. He's going to carry that momentum all the way down the back straight. Down through Hangar they go, which is a sketchy corner the best of times, let alone when there's a lot of standing water down there. The driver's doing a good job in and of themselves to just keep it on the black stuff for one, really, in this one. But look at this. I thought there might be an attempted attack here for the race lead from Teddy Smith, but no, here comes Stanley Thurston, attempting it back through on the inside, but closing the door is Teddy Smith. Or has he? No, he hasn't, sorry. Teddy Smith has indeed closed the door. Apologies there. We've switched around, so of course they went side by side across the line there. But Smith closes the door and does indeed hold on to the lead then. Yellow flags there down through those first couple of corners, so potentially we've got a driver off down there. No moves made from these drivers at the sharp end, at least in their Iame M1s for the moment. And it potentially might be Jed Evans then on the E-plate. I think it is. He's dropping down the order on the timing tower on the left-hand side of your screen. So Jed Evans, I think the driver off then down through the first couple of corners. A shame for the E-plate, dropping down all the way to the back of the pack. Just to highlight as well those Comers, it is still Matthew Pearson from the pole position slot on the grid, who continues to hold that race lead then. Jace Hannon and Noah Gallagher going with him though, as here we go down into Stratford Corner once more. And those were the drivers, I do believe, on those orange plates, battling over at the sharp end of the order in our Comer Bambinos. There's the E-plate of Reggie Rhodes. He was looking very feisty last time out at fullback, was Reggie, but he spins! Reggie Rhodes spins off the road. A shame there. Just tried to carry a little bit too much speed into the chicane. You saw the rear got all sorts of light there, and he couldn't quite catch the slide. Round goes Reggie Rhodes, just as I was praising him for his racecraft back at fullback. Sadly, the grip has failed him there, and round he goes as another driver pulls off the circuit. They're on the exit of Wilkins Complex. The 22 pulls up, and that's Noah Gallagher out of the race. What a shame, from third place. Noah had one hand on that podium trophy, but he's out, as just about we are about to hit half race distance in this one. So a bit of a racer attrition already in this one. Drivers going off left, right and centre. Well, Reggie Rhodes, that was definitely a mistake from Reggie. However, that issue for Noah Gallagher looked a lot more mechanical, I do believe, there, as we saw him just pull off to the side. A real shame there for Noah. But again, another driver out of this race. Well, Shay Downey still leading the way, and we can watch here. This is Henry Exton heading around the middle of the circuit here on number 32, so he's still holding firm in 5th position, is Henry at the moment, doing a good job in his replica Lando Norris lid there. I see loads of different younger drivers now, particularly in the Bambinos, wearing Lando Norris lids. But it's lovely to see the drivers, of course, loving their Formula One drivers, and of course aspiring to get there one day themselves. It's lovely to see the drivers taking to the track, and the continued improvements across the races, across the rounds as well. It's awesome to see, and it doesn't mean just because these drivers are young there's not great battling out there on circuit. I mean, we've shown that already in this final, and we've got another Bambino final to come after this as well, so make sure you stick around throughout this afternoon. We've got plenty of races, as I mentioned, 7 finals in total this afternoon, and 2 different finals for the British Pro Kart Championship, both a B and an A final for those, so make sure you stick around. That's going to be very exciting, as again, a little half spin this time for another one of our Iame drivers. Who was that? Was that the 95 of Isaac Taylor? I think it is. Yes, Isaac Taylor then, a little half spin through the Stratford hairpin. But he's managed to hold it okay. Well done to him. Isaac continues to press on then. We just got under 3.5 minutes left to go in this first final of the day. Then still Shay Downey leading the way at the sharp end here in Iame M1s. So as you mentioned then, coming into today, Matthew Pearson leads the championship in Comer Bambinos. 169 points for him versus 156 for Reggie Rhodes, or with that spin for Reggie, dropping him slightly down the order. And Matthew Pearson still holding on to the race lead here in Comers. This is going to be a very positive round for him if he can continue this on, get those points in the bank, and then press on through to round 3 next time out. In Iame Bambinos, it is Henry Exton who leads the championship on 172 points, but as I mentioned, it was Jack Rossi Minna who won the final at round number 1. And Rossi Minna continuing to chase down our top 3. He's trying to close up now to Stanley Thurston in 3rd place, as they continue to press on through this final. 2.5 minutes now left to go on the clock. There is the number 19, I believe that was, of Teddy Smith pressing on through. Yes, it was indeed. As you can see, the green-plated drivers just cutting through some of our Comer Bambino drivers. There is the 28 of Stanley Thurston, who now finds himself in a bit of a Comer Bambino sandwich there as he tries to hook up the exit. He'll do the up and under there out of the chicane, and will continue to drag all the way down the back straight. So Rossi Minna's close, but not close enough to think about a move on Stanley Thurston. And here is your race leader in the Iame M1s then, if I can put my teeth in. Shay Downey leads us through then Only a couple of laps to go in this one, and he has consistently eked out that race lead ever since we looked away from him to have a look at some other battles down the order. He's now extended the gap to over 3 seconds ahead of Teddy Smith. A 59.5 fastest lap of the race for Shay Downey. And I think the key thing for Shay is he's consistently down in the 59s as well. A 59.6 on the last lap, a good 4/10 quicker than the likes of Teddy Smith. Good second and a half quicker than the rest of the chasing drivers. Drivers in the mid-pack, like Sir Henry Exton, George Miller, Matthew Pearson, all continuing to pick up the pace. But of course, Matthew leading the way in the Comers. So still slight bit of pace difference then between the two classes. So we're down into the 59s for the front runners in M1s, but it's a 1 minute and 5 for Matthew Pearson, best time at the moment. But that is 3 seconds clear of the next fastest time in Bambino Comers. Very impressive from Matthew Pearson. He's very deserving of maximum points from this race. Isaac Taylor gets back through on Matthew Pearson then. Understandably so, with that additional pace he has underneath him, courtesy of that Iame engine. We continue to press on through this final then. 45 seconds still left to go on the clock, but Shay Downey looks to have this one almost wrapped up. Now nearly 5 seconds in the lead of this race. There was a new personal best on the lap before last from Teddy Smith. He now jumps down into the 59s, a 59.958 for Teddy. But on that previous lap, he jumped back into the 101s, just not able to match the consistency at the moment of this driver on your screens of Shay Downey. So he continues on through the chicane, and that timer continues to tick down then. We're getting close enough here to the final lap of proceedings. Will it quite tick down far enough here as you come down into the Wilkins complex out of Hanger Corner? It's such a difficult one to get right because you do still have a little bit of steering angle on as you try to chuck on the anchors there into the Wilkins complex. So it's dancing that car under brakes, but also using that slide a little bit to carry on the speed out of the corner, because as we mentioned earlier, it's all about carrying speed around this circuit. Every single corner then leads onto a very long straight on this circuit, so you're much better to sacrifice the corner entry and make up that time on the corner exit, and that seems to be exactly what Shay Downey is doing so well in this final so far. The number 51 continues to lead us there down through into Stratford, and he's got less than a lap to continue on, less than a kilometre before we can get his hands on that trophy. But Teddy Smith and Stanley Thurston might be battling here for second place as they exit the Stratford hairpin. I think those two were almost going side by side. Well, Shay Downey doesn't have anything to worry about, especially if those two continue to battle him, as now our leader heads down into the final couple of corners then. Here is Shay Downey. What a performance from him so far today. As I mentioned as we kicked off the race, your pole sitter for this one, he's won all 3 heats from today, and he's going to make it 4 races from 4. The final in Iame M1 goes to Shay Downey. He sees the checkered flag first and wins in Iame M1. But who will take second place? Those two were battling throughout that final lap. Who's it going to go to? It's Stanley Thurston. He gets Teddy Smith on the final lap. Brilliant drive back there from Stanley Thurston. He found pace in the second half of the race, chased back down Teddy Smith and stole second place away. Jack Rossi Minute this time just misses out on the overall podium. A shame for him. And we've already seen Matthew Pearson come across the line. He wins in the Comer Bambinos. Brilliant race from Matthew Pearson as Jace Hannon takes second place in the Comers and Logan Grassi finishing in third. What a race then to kick off the proceedings here in the finals from round 2 of the UK Kart Series. But Shay Downey wins it ahead of Stanley Thurston and Teddy Smith. Then Jack Rossi Minute, your UK plate winner from round number 1, has to settle outside of the podium this time, sadly for him, as here are those full results. Henry Exton rounds out the top 5 in Iame M1s, followed by George Miller and Isaac Taylor. Then on the Bambino Comers, Matthew Pearson, as we say, what a race from him, winning by, you can see there on the right hand side of your screen, over 18 seconds in a 10-minute plus 1 lap race. That's unbelievable from Matthew Pearson. Fair play to the driver of the number 45, Jace Hannon, and Logan Grassi in the top 3, followed by Dalton Dyke Whitfield, then Jax Wilmington, followed by Reggie Rhodes, and Noah Gallagher rounded out the order. Of course, sadly, we lost Noah Gallagher a good 8 or so laps ago, pulling over to the side of the circuit there out at the final corner, and the same, sadly, for Jed Evans as well in Iame M1s. We lost him a lap earlier than Noah, also pulling over to the side of the circuit. A real shame there for those two drivers, but there we go then. Already one of our 7 finals from this afternoon in the bank. Iame M1s and Bambino Comers, they are done and dusted for the weekend here at round number 2 of the UK Kart Series. But as I mentioned earlier, we've still got some more Bambino action to come.